from the first time just because, they're probably not going to work the second time when they see them. So, but we obviously know this group pretty well just through the years, having played them. They've kept pretty much the same defense philosophically, and they execute it well. They're a good group. It's always a challenge to play them.
You had some trouble in pass protection against the Ravens. What was going on there? What are some things you can clean up?
Well, I could answer that question by saying that is a big part of it. I think that they're a good defense. The Ravens, they did a nice job on some things, and they got us a couple of times, and we didn't play our best game. So I think that get back to working this week and clean up some of the things that we made mistakes on going in. And against Denver, obviously, with those two guys outside, with Miller and Chubb, they're both very good pass rushers, and they do a nice job of putting pressure on you. So, the big thing for us is we've got to be better technique-wise with what we're doing. I think some of that led to our problems. Some of it was just our identification and how we handled the fronts. And, when you face a team like Baltimore the first time, a lot of times there's things that you're not 100% sure of, and, they do a good job with it. And like I said, we didn't play our best. So, with Denver, you understand more about how they do things, how they're going to attack you, and hopefully we can improve on what we did last week.
Did you consider changes in personnel with those five guys up front? Are you comfortable with those five guys and where they're at?
You talking about our offensive line? Well, they've been playing the whole season and they've done a good job. So, I don't think you consider making a change because of a game where we didn't play our best. And let's face it, it's easy to point the finger at the O-line, but we had some other places where we didn't play as well as we could have played also. So, I probably called some plays I wish I could have back. Those are all things that factor into it. I think that we're past that. We moved on, and now we got to get ready to play Denver.
In general, we know Phillips not the most mobile guy back there. When a team is blitzing as much and from all different angles as the Ravens did, what are the best ways to counter that?
Well, we've had success with that before. I think Phillips is one of the best quarterbacks in the league against the blitz, I think, statistically. So we just weren't on. We had some plays early where we had a chance to make them, some big ones down the field, and we didn't do that. And that can always change the perspective of the game. So I think a lot of times, I know from having been on a team that goes against a good quarterback, you're always worried about pressure against a veteran quarterback because they can make you pay for that. And we just didn't do that. We had some mistakes. So, Phillips always done a great job. He's not afraid to hang in the pocket and make the throw at the last second. You're all familiar with that. You know that he does that. And, that's the way we operate. And we've had really good success with that this year up until last week. So, we're going to continue to do what we feel like we've done well this year and just play a little better.
I'm sure you looked at the tape of the first game against these guys. When that play that Von Miller made, the interception, is that just a great player making a great play there? Or when you look back on that, is there anything that obviously you wish the result had been different?
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, I think the game would have been completely different, obviously, if we'd have made a play there. And the guy's a great player. He made a really good play. You don't see a lot of guys that can make that. He recognized something and took a chance and made a play. So, we still go back to we did a lot of good things in that game and made a lot of plays. So, you can't always dwell on one negative play when you do a lot of good things. Give him credit. He's a tremendous player. He's one of the best players in the league, and he made a good play. And, respect him for that. But we'll continue to do things that we've done well.
When you're in the playoffs, whether you lose or win, do you look at this game as in any way as an opportunity to make sure certain guys go into the playoffs with excellent health and spare them some injury risk and grind this Sunday, or you just say pull out the stops and win the game?
Well, that's really not my call on that situation. I think I know that the way we're looking at this is we still have a chance to get the number one seed. Now, there's still, if for whatever reason Oakland beats Kansas City, then, we have a chance. So we have to go in there and win this game. I think that's important for us.
With Brutal Range going back to Denver, he played so many years there, and he's always played as an
Well, when we lost Hunter, you always worry about what are you going to do from a stability point with that position. And Virgil has been really good. He's done a great job with that. He's a very unselfish player. He's a tremendous blocker, and he's done a good job in the pass game and worked hard. So it was a tremendous move by Tom and his group to get Virgil signed, because that position's always hard to find guys that you think can be as consistent as Virgil has been, and he's been a really good player for us. We're certainly thrilled to have had Virgil.
I think playing in Denver might help you guys out for a road game in the playoffs.
Well, we played in Pittsburgh, we played in Seattle, we played in KC, so we've played some games in some big stadiums against a big crowd. So it's going to be like, at least we've had the opportunity to be in a playoff type atmosphere. So, yeah, we've done that a few times. So hopefully we'll be a little better prepared for that.
But you guys have played well in those stadiums too. What have been the reasons for your success in those road stadiums where the offense is played well?
I think it's just been the way our guys have worked. I think they don't let much bother them, and they understand that you're going to be at a little bit of a disadvantage in those things, but you got to focus in and make some plays. And I think early in games we've done a good job of making some plays, making some big plays. I think back to, maybe not so much in Pittsburgh, KC. I'm thinking more, I guess, Seattle, where, we hit the first run, it was huge, and then we had a big pump on third down that we hit to Keenan that were big plays. It just seems like we've been able to block that out, overcome some of our mistakes that we've made, because you're going to have a few of those when you play in an away stadium like those, and then be able to get in a groove at the end of the game. I think, the mental toughness of our guys has really shown, especially at the end of games. That's one of the things that's really been big for us this year. If you think about Pittsburgh, certainly you think about Kansas City, just to be able to make the drive at the end of the game and score the points that won the game are big. That's huge, especially on the road. So I think it gives you a little bit of, I don't want to say confidence, but maybe mental toughness that you can do that. And, hopefully that can help us going forward if we're in the playoffs, but, whatever transpires from that standpoint.
Follow up on the Von Miller play. He and Philip have played so many games against each other. Have you noticed like a little cat and mouse thing between them? Maybe on similar plays where Von might guess this way, or Philip might figure what he's doing on another play?
Well, I think you're always aware of where Von is, because he's a tremendous player, and you work on those things. That play happens. You see it happen in the league at times. He made a good play in that situation. Let's not not disregard the fact that Phillips made his share of plays, and he made his share of plays in that game. So, I think you're always aware of a tremendous player like Vaughn, but you still got to be able to go out there and do the things that you do to be successful.
Ken, 13 years ago when we were in Pittsburgh, you guys were wild card, and as we know, very rare for a wild card to run the table, which you did. You won in Cincinnati and beat Denver. Did you have a sense there was something with that team that was going to, and what was it about that team that allowed them to do that?
Well, to be honest, I think it's been done since then. I think there have been a couple of other teams that have done it too. So it's not easy. I think there's a mentality with the team, a toughness that you have to have to do that. And there's also got to be a closeness. There's got to be, the group of guys that really like each other and play well together. From a standpoint of, I sense a lot of that with our team. Like I said, I don't want to bring it back up again, but to go into a place like Seattle, to go into a place like Pittsburgh, to go into Kansas City and win tough games there, that doesn't just happen. There was a reason that did, and that was because of the way our guys worked and the ways that they believed in each other. And we played good complementary football, and those are the kind of things that you can build on and know that if you get into a situation, especially early in a playoff game and things maybe don't quite go your way, you can recover and you can make some plays. So I think, that can help you. It's not easy. It's not easy to do what you said, but, I certainly think that this team has been able to do some good things this year.
Keenan Allen has approached another 100 reception season. Just having him being so productive in your offense, how big is that for you?
He can just do so many things. I think the characteristics of the group that play wide receiver for us has been really special. We have so many guys that sacrifice so that other players can have success. And, Keenan has benefited from that a little bit because we put him in spots where he can make some plays, but there's been a lot of other times where he's had to bend the decoy to get some other guys some plays. I don't think that he's been very productive, and kudos to him for how hard he worked. He really worked hard in the offseason, but that group in general has a really good chemistry, and we ask him to do a lot of different things. And I think the biggest thing is they block very well in the run game. They work at that, and then they're unselfish with what's going on. They're very happy for their teammates when they make plays.
Was to go into week 17, not have a single seed determined in the AFC is kind of unique. What does it really say about the state of the conference that everyone's so tough and jumbled up at the top?
Well, I know that probably the TV networks are really excited about it, but I think it's awesome. It's awesome for our game that we have this going on because it creates a lot of interest. I think you've seen over the latter part of the season a lot of games that have come down to the end. Last plays are really exciting, and that's kind of what NFL is. Good football players, and you hang in there and you got to make some plays at the end to win, and that's the reason that it's like it is. But we're in the tournament. That's not easy to do, and we're really excited about it.
How we doing? Okay, obviously a couple days into our prep for Denver. When you look at this team, for us defensively anyway, Case, I think he's doing a good job. He had a couple good series where they went up-tempo against Oakland. I know they did a little bit against Cleveland too. And, we just got to prepare for everything with this team. They've got some good skilled guys on the perimeter. Anytime you lose a good running back like that, but the two guys they have replaced him, actually, I think yards per attempt against us anyway, had more yards. So, I think we understand what we're dealing with and the challenge that we have in front of us.
When you look at this offense, you put it 3 weeks ago, but the skill players are so different. Like Sanders is down, Lindsey's down. Just how unique is that when you play a team and 4 weeks later it's almost entirely different?
It is, and that's part of it. We all know that there's injuries in the NFL, but they took some hits there with some really good players. But I think what's impressive on tape is just how competitive they are. You see guys that are stepping up in positions. I know we've had that, where a guy went down, another guy stepped up, and there's stories that take place throughout the year with guys and how well they do. And I think there's stories like that. They're finding some other guys who are stepping up and doing some really good things for them.
Gus, what's your evaluation of how Derwin has played with 1 game left? He's obviously in the conversation for Defensive Rookie of the Year. But how do you think he's played so far?
Well, all the things we've asked him to do, I would have never guessed in the beginning of the year. I thought that he was very talented, could understand his position, and would do very well for us. But all the things we've asked him to do and the challenges we put on his plate and how he's responded, there's weeks when we asked him to be a guy that we're going to pressure a lot on first, second, and third down. There's times when we've had him play the middle third. We've added him as extra rusher. There's just different things with him. So what he's brought to the table for us just as a skill set and the flexibility it offers us is, I can't say enough about it. Now, as a person, and I'm talking about a person on our team, the spirit that he has and what he brings to our whole unit, the energy he brings to our unit. I think you could tell when he first came in he had that about him. But, it's every day. Every day he brings that. This guy genuinely loves the game and has a passion for it. And I think that filters through our players as well.
Is that a tough thing to evaluate pre-draft, knowing that guy's going to be like that once you get him?
Well, I think, you don't know you hear things about it and until you have him and work with him on a day-to-day basis. But I think, they talked about his energy and his spirit and his love for the game. But I'd be lying if I said I thought it was to this level. There's a certain belief in them. I think that, and you get that belief when you win big games like that. You go into environments and you find a way to win. And it's a very close group. I know that's cliche-ish too. But I think as far as close, they really trust each other on the field. They know where everybody's going to be. They know the challenges everybody faces on the field. And at times they help each other. And it may not look like the coverage we put in at times, but I think they're starting to know it so well, and some of the issues that we face, that the conversations that take place. So I think they are a pretty close-knit group as far as trust aspect, and then they've had some success in those environments, so they believe.
I just wanted to go back to Durham real quick. How has his versatility helped you schematically in terms of what you want to do on defense?
Well, I think that as far as, this league is full of matchups. And although we don't play a lot of man coverage, some of our things turn into man. Some of our zone principles turn into man. And then it becomes about matchups. So I think when you're facing sometimes, big tight ends that are in the league, I think that you look at that and you say, all right, it's a matchup that we're okay with. That we like our chances with. So I think that you look at other matchups across the board with our defense, and I think he's brought that part of it to where you say, all right, if we position them here, we like that matchup. Now let's look at everybody else and how they position themselves and how we position them, I should say. So I think it's just more of a matchup, and some of the things he does. I mean, he's got length, so he can cover downfield, explosive, so when he does come on pressures, he at times he looks like a defensive end, so I think it's our job to utilize each and every member of our defense, their skill set, and he's just got a wide variety of them.
Just when you look at that tape from the first time they played Denver, they got a turnover there at the end of the third quarter at the short field, then they had a touchdown drive and a field goal drive. What happened at the end of that game that they were able to do?
Yeah, you know what? They did a good job. I think a couple of their route concepts that they ran, we didn't exactly play as precise as we needed to. And they made us pay for it. And I think that's going into it. And it was up-tempo. I think that the last session was a 2-minute where we felt like, hey, we made a couple plays, and then they got 2 big plays, and that was it. And I think it stressed the importance. There's some good learning lessons for our defense about how every play matters, every play counts. And although it was a loss, I think that helped us in further games down the line about how every play matters, like the 2-point play, the last play against Tennessee, and, the plays that happen to show up in other games, where every play counts. And we just didn't execute on those plays. So that's what I think with Case Keenum, he'll make you pay. He's that talented, and he's got enough talent around him, talented players, where they can make you pay. So we know that we have to be on it this week.
How's Michael Davis evolved since he took over for Trey?
Good. He's done a good job for us. I think he's one of those guys where when he was first in there, we had we were watching out of the corner of our eyes, just how is he going to do? We knew that he had the speed and the length, but to perform in those environments, I think was some things that we had in question. But I think now over time, he's shown that he can perform in those environments. Now we're expecting him to finish some of those plays. The opportunities to turn those PBUs into picks or interceptions and be more of a ball hawking type. But, with him, he can't go after the ball. He's just got to utilize his technique and then trust it and then make plays. So I think that's the next step for him.
Gus, how do you like the energy and speed your defense is still showing late in the season? You've had good help, but it's impressive to me how energetic they are.
Yeah, well, I think that's a credit to them, and the coaches do a good job. I think the whole thing with the defense is where they can play with some freedom, and they have enough confidence that they know their abilities that they can play fast. And I think they're at that level. I think that the way we're built now with some of the injuries taking place and how we shuffled around, we probably have more speed on the field. So, whenever you have more speed, it's going to appear faster too. So, but we put a lot of strain on our defensive line now. I mean, when you have 2 lighter linebackers that are playing for us like we have now, you have to stress somebody. And I think the D-line we put a lot of stress on them because of it. Some of the techniques that we ask them to play just to slow down some of the run game that we've been seeing. So it's been a team effort. But, I do like the way they're practicing, the way they show up on game day.
Notice Ingram played every defensive snap the other night, which is unusual for your D-lineman. Was that just a matchup thing, or was he feeling?
Yeah, I mean, at that position, what we asked him to do, we felt like, we move our defensive ends around quite a bit. you know, where Joey and where Melvin are going to play. Sometimes it's just like Derwin, you know, put them in position where we think, you know, how certain schemes or certain personnel will be attacked and put them in those positions. So I think, you know, with Melvin, Chenna could have played some. I think he's got that skill set too. But, you know, we just trust Melvin. We got great respect for his play.
Gus, now that you've faced the Ravens, how different were they? Were they unique in terms of what you guys have faced this year? And would it help if you hadn't faced them again, having seen them?
Well, I'll give you a standard answer. We're not worried about playing them again. But I will answer your question. I know that's important. Yeah, they are unique. They are unique. I think that when you look at them, some of the things they do, you know, I think that sometimes you look at them and you say, oh, it's all triple option and you know, 3 guys can touch the ball at any time. But they do a lot of things that are similar to NFL teams do around the league, but they have a package added on to it. And the threat, anytime the quarterback can run. It's like Russell Wilson. He drop backs to pass, you know, so just like a lot of other teams, but it's different because of his skill set. So, you know, I think after we played him, I think our respect grew for him even more.